Okay, so the cross-section templates are done on the controller, and I'm going to base it on this section drawn out on this long section on the plan, and we're going to just focus. You can see the section is fairly symmetrical. What's on the left is on the right. The only thing that's interesting here is that it's got a crossfall of 2.5% on the left. So basically from right to left across the whole surface. Our horizontal alignment will end up in the center of that carriageway. You can just put this sort of to the one side there. And in Landstar we will go to cross-section templates and press add. This is a typical profile, so we'll just one just to have something different going on, and press the add button again. And what's going to happen is we're going to focus on the right hand side of the profile, and whatever is done on the right, if it's symmetrical to the left, we can just copy it over or apply it to the left and make adjustments on the left hand side when we need it. So you'll see that's quite easy to do. So let's just call this the road width section, so I'll just call it RW, and you'll see that if I say 2.5, that will be uphill. So that's currently also the same on the cross section at the moment. The width is 3.7 meters, and there's no vertical offset. The vertical offset is to lift the profile in relation to the vertical alignment. And then every segment I do like this, the vertical offset will be in relation to the previous segment. So this segment has no vertical offset, and there it draws a pretty picture for us. So I'll illustrate what that vertical offset does just now. So let's say I need to put in a curb, but there's no curb. You can see that it's actually just a little edging E3 edge there. But let's say I want to put in a barrier curb, and the slope of that barrier curb will probably be 0, and the width might be 0.1, and then I'll put in a vertical offset of 0.15 also, and then you'll just press OK, and there you can see a vertical offset being used. So that then represents the top of the curb. Right, but that's not what I want, so I'm just gonna scroll this. It's just so that you can understand what that vertical offset does. It's in relation to the previous segment. So every definition I do here is just a little line that's defined. Now in this case, the edging and the shoulder is sort of, or the sidewalk is sort of on the same level as the road, and I'm actually going to make it a flat surface. So I'm going to just call this let's just call it shoulder, and keep it flat, and then the width is 0.5, and that vertical offset 0. So I basically just keep on defining this. This is going to be the drain segment. So this is the drain inside, and this is going to be a 50%, which is a 1 in 2 slope, and it's 1.3 wide, and there's no vertical offset again, so we'll just say OK. Oops, I went the wrong way, so we just change that to minus 50%. We want to go downhill, so it's minus to go down, plus to go up. Here we go, and I'm going to add, this is now my drain bottom, or and there's no slope there, and the width is 0.5 again. And we'll add one more. And this is a 50% again, but this time we're going up, so it needs to be positive. And I'm just going to make it a meter, just to make allowance for the ground that may change, so that I could then intersect with the ground. And you'll see when you do the survey that you can extend the slope at any point, and it will tell you what your cut and fill would be anywhere along that slope. For now, I'm just going to keep it at 1 meter, and that's it. I don't need to define anything more. So this, as I said before, represents the right hand side of the profile. And this is a profile template only, and you can add many of these depending on how complicated you want to go. You can add as many segments as you like, and you can really create an impressive layout for your road profile. And then we have to define the positions where these templates will be used. So we will then go to cross-section template positions, press the add button again, and we will say this template will be from the start, which means station or chainage 0, and then we say we will use that same template I just created and press the accept button for the left hand side as well as the right hand side of my road. So I'm creating a mirror of it to the left and to the right using that exact same profile. Right, so that's okay. And then we say add again, and we say take that profile all the way through right to the end of the road. Let's just see what that chainage should be, 277.39, and we'll just use that same template on both sides. So this means I can taper it or change the profile gradually over certain chainages or distance intervals, and if there's something happening along your road and you want to make profile changes, you just tell it which template to use on which station or chainage value, and that will then interpolate in between. So we'll just say okay there, and I want to go out and just show you what this looks like. So we go back to our main screen, go back again and go to survey, and we'll go to road stakeout, and then right at the top where it says road stakeout, we will say stakeout road by point, and then you'll press that little flag button at the top. That shows us a profile. Now notice how we created a mirror of our profile and how the slope is actually creating a channel sort of in the middle of my road profile. That needs to be adjusted or corrected, so we will look at the super elevation now. Alright, so let's go back and go back again and go to project and roads again. We're busy with road ABC, so I just select it again and I press the edit tool or button, and then we will go to super elevations and we will say add, and we will say at station 0 something needs to change, and we'll just say it's a linear super elevation, but you can also make a cubic parabola super elevation. I think the popular one in South Africa is to do a linear super elevation on most of our roads. So I'm just going to say save and continue. And what happens here is you can then define the segments that you want to work on. So just by pressing these segments, and then it shows us what the original slope is, and we can say what the slope should be. So I'm going to make that a minus 2.5 for that segment and say okay, and I'm going to add another one, and that's also going to be right up to the end because this road only falls to the one side, so we're lucky that we don't have to put in too much detail here. And just select the segment we want and then just put in a minus 2.5 there also. So this in essence just allows us to give the change that happens in your super elevation. So it means from chainage 0 up to chainage 277.93 there's something different to what the normal template requires. So I'll go back and go and view that. So you can actually, I like to view it here in my road stakeout, but there's probably another way to do that. So I'm just going to press that button again, and there you can see the slope is now nice and even across the whole road. It's going to be a 2.5% crossfall, which is what the client wants, and I'm ready to go and stake out this road. Now another check that I like to do also is to play with my station intervals. So I'm going to do a 10 meter interval, and then I'm going to say I want to go to a specific cross section. So depending on let's just get this menu up a bit, you can press the plus button and it will, let's just clear that out and give it something that's like a rounded value. Alright, so if I press plus, the station interval will jump in 10 meter increments, but if there's a horizontal curve or a vertical curve endpoint or start point of a curve, it will show those intermediate station values also, but in between it's then just going to do the jump by using our station intervals. And then if you go to cross section string, depending on what chainage you're on, let's just do something that's on a nice rounded value, and then here on the actual plan I'm going to go to that chainage 60 for instance, just to do my checks. So just to remind you, the very top line there, that is my left hand side of my road edge, and the right hand side is my third line from the top. So if I then press this cross section string button, it shows our offsets. So here you can see that's my left road edge, and the value I see here is 40.21 or 40.2 according to Landstar, and the right hand side is 40.384, which is it's not exact or precise, but it's close enough for what I'm doing. And let's just find another one. I like to look at those in the vertical curve. So I'm going to go right to the side here and look at that 151. Let's go there. So you can also type in there 150 and press the cross section button. And I like to highlight them like this. So in 140, that's 46.54. That's perfect. And 46.72, yep, that's also perfect. And then let's do one more on that arc. This is me just checking myself to make sure that the data I entered is actually correct. So let's do 230 and select that one again. That's 47.84, yep, that's the same. And that's 48.22, 48.8022. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so there you can see the vertical alignment, horizontal alignment was entered correctly. My offsets are correct. My crossfalls are correct. So super elevation and everything else is perfect. I can now use this and go out into the field and go and stake out my road. And that's how easy it is to use Landstar road setout.